Hello friends, this is Yrvind, and now it's coming up the outer combing with place for the gaskets. So we're going to put them there, back and forth, and then it comes the sides. And here is the lid, and also a little bit in here, you know, when water comes in there, it will deflect it. So this is now. So hello. Now this little piece of wood is in there, and it's 2 ducks on it. You know, the ducks that you use for making drawings with splines. So, and the front piece of this is coming up, and the back one, and it holds the gasket here. So, little by little, things are coming together. So, tomorrow it will be dry. Hello friends, this is Yrvind, and the adventure continues. Now it was 1961, late in the year, November, something like that, and I decided to be a voluntary aid worker, and the plan was to go to Greece, a small town, Servia, in northern Greece. So I didn't have any money and we didn't get paid for the travel, so I started hitchhiking from Stockholm. I didn't really know about bivouacs, but I found out it myself. So I got myself a sleeping bag, and I made myself a kind of bivouac of 1 by 2 meter, polyester fiber reinforced PVC, was very strong. And there I got my things, so sleeping bag, I roll it up, and then I carry it on my head like the natives. A little while I learned how to do that. So I started hitchhiking south, and it was very cold. And in the south of Sweden, I got to ride with an American. He had a very fine car, a Ford Thunderbird. So, but he was not really used to the Swedish climate. So one day when there was ice on the street, he went off the road and the car turned around, went on the roof, and the back window was gone. But anyway, in Sweden he couldn't at that time find a window quickly enough, so he drove like that. But there was a very good heating in the car, so he kept driving and we kept driving and kept talking, and we passed through Denmark and we passed through Germany, and then he let me off there, he go on the way. And then I kept going south, and then I came to München, Munich, and it was very, very, very cold. It was minus 18 degrees Celsius. But I got the fur coat, jacket, sheepskin, and I got my sleeping bag, and I put myself in there, and an open field, I slept. And like I said, minus 18 degrees. So next day I continued, and towards the evening I was heading for southern Italy, for Brindisi, with a ferry. I got to ride with a lorry driver, and we drove the whole night, and we went through a long tunnel, and then in the morning we came out and it was sunshine there and it was warm. And he let me off and I walked on the road and what did I see? Orange trees growing, oranges on the trees. I never seen that before. And so I got another ride and I spoke and I went to the south. Okay, he said, so we stopped at the place and then there was a policeman there and he told the policeman, this man is going south, help him. And so the policeman, he kind of stopped. Gosh, are you going south? You have to take this man, and they did. And in the evening, I was down in the south part of Italy to Brindisi. And there was a ferry there. And in the evening, they departed. But a storm came out. And I and most poor people from Greece there, they were just ex-passengers. And the ferry was like rolling and things like that. People were throwing up, and it was my bivouac, And then to ride out the storm, we have to go behind some islands, like the Corfu Islands. And yes, things calmed down. And then next day, we came to Patras. And there I went off. And now it was nearly evening and it was getting dark and I had a map and on the map it says this was 1968, 61 late. So in the map it said it was like a dotted line. It's not quite up to European standard, it said. And I walked and kind of the road stopped and was like a river flowing across. So I stopped too, and then there come cars there, and then I got picked up, and then suddenly I came to a house, and there was a fence, and there was an angry dog behind the fence, so it was kind of barking and jumping at the fence, I said, well, that's a good thing that the fence is there, But as I walked, the fence stopped, and the dog ran out on the street and ran up to me, but he barked, but it was a friendly dog, so he just looked at me, and then he went away. But then it was getting late, and I could see thunder in the sky. So I put up my tent, my bivouac, and I put in there. And it was just tremendous rain, but everything was okay. So I kept hitchhiking and hitchhiking and hitchhiking, and eventually I got up to this Serbia. It was a small town in northern Greece. Life was that very simple. There was no electricity and they needed help because after the Second World War, the Italians had been there, but the communist guerrillas had driven them out. Like, the communists in Russia had driven the Germans from Russia, and now the communists were in control of that. But the Western powers, US and Britain didn't like that, So they started a guerrilla war, and it was very bloody, and many people got killed. And also during the war, the Italians had been angry at the people in Serbia, so they burned the whole town down. So now life was very, very simple there, And all these things, many people had gone away, and there was a lot of mistrust, And now I came as a relief worker. And then often I was invited to places. They were very simple, burning wood stove, and very kind people. I didn't speak Greek, but I could understand a bit. I always was good at that. So first time I come to England, I didn't speak English. First time I come to Germany, I didn't speak German. First time I come to France, I didn't speak France. So I was good at getting along. As long as I didn't bother with pronunciation and grammar and all these things we learn in school. So often I got invited to families, and then if there was a daughter in the family, she had a little box or thing like that, and often she showed me. It was like embroidery and all these things she had done, you know. And this was what I called troika. It was a dowry she had prepared to prove that one day she met a man, she was ready to be a good wife. And also these children, the people said children, they asked them to write. So I wonder why they would write things, you know. But later I understood that most of the grown-ups, they couldn't write or read, you know. But now it was modern time. The 50s has passed, the war was gone, and now the young people was educating. They're going to learn to read and write. So it was like coming back to old things. And later, when I spoke to the boys in the village about this pricka, you know, like the women that they shoot to get a good husband, I said, isn't it better if, you know, the girl, if they're beautiful and things like this with love and all the things? I said, no, you know, this beauty in a few years is past. But a woman, if she's a good worker, it will last all the way. So I was there in the winter and it was very cold and was wolf around, and this Serbia was just behind the Mount Olympus. So with the help, I didn't have a camera, but now we made an artificial picture, so I hope to show you. And yes, this is it. And later I came down to Athens, and then I will tell you about that later. So this is about now, volunteer worker in Greece, relief volunteer worker. So thank you.